Alright, folks, got Frank the guitar here. It's the 2nd now. It's the 2nd of January 2025. I was just looking. Frank's got a little bit of a, he's had a little bit of repair done on the back, and I just don't know if I'm going to be doing more to that just to ensure that it doesn't get, splitting right there or not. But anyway, this is In the Image Clothing Company music. My name is Evan Strong. I am going to show in this the importance of a compensated saddle. I did a whole video talking about the problems with the G string on nylon string guitars, because that's this one right here. It's so thick compared to the ones next to it. And I discussed some problems with that and things, but this one I want a very dedicated video here for a compensated saddle. Now, if you look at my saddle, that's this piece here. It's either plastic or composite or bone, depending on what guitar you have. The one on Frank here is just plastic. And that makes it easier to work with than a harder material would be. But it doesn't really matter what material yours is for this. The point that I'm making is, if you look at his saddle and you look at right where that G comes down across the top of that saddle, you can see, if you can see, that it kind of dips down just a bit on Frank's saddle there, where that G goes over it. That's what we call a compensated saddle. The height is compensated with a little dip down in the middle, right where that G is going to go across. And that's so important. I mean, I can't have you feel what that does without having it happen within your own hand. Because on a nylon string guitar, it's so common to be picking, right? Steel string guitar, it's more common to be using like a pick. But with nylon strings, it's very, very common to be using just your own fingers is all that you're touching the strings with. And just the height discrepancy because of that thickness of that G is unreal. So what'll happen is your playing ability just won't be there at all. If that, I mean, it's just, yeah. What I'm really showing is, because I've talked about the importance of that, but do it. Don't worry about not being able to pay for they call them luthiers, somebody who works on a guitar is a luthier. Don't be worried that you can't pay for somebody to do it for you, or you can't get your guitar to this job, you don't feel like you have time. Whatever it is, grab yourself a simple pair of scissors. Like right here, I've got this pair of scissors. You can take this, open it up, and I'm not just saying you could do this. This is actually what I did about 8 to 10 minutes ago before I started this, somewhere around that amount of time before now, to make my compensated saddle a little bit deeper. I took a pair of scissors. It wasn't this one, it was my little sewing scissors that are down here, the ones that I use for sewing in the Image Clothing Company, right? So I just went like this. I loosened that G string. I just loosened it enough to where I can kind of push the string over and get to the saddle, and then I just kind of wore away a little bit there until I felt like it was nice and even. And then you can just check it, and you just look across there, and you just want it to all be even height, every one of the 6 strings. Ideally that nice even rounding to it, same height from side to side. But as far as the strings height off of the saddle as it goes across, you want them to be the same. So you can see, I think against the blackness of that capo, I want to get to where I can really see it well, so that I can make sure that you can see it well. Yeah. See, against the blackness of that capo is what I meant to say. How, you can see the D, then you come over to the G, and then the B, and it's a pretty darn even height. Just because if it's not, you're gonna have to be adjusting as you're playing. And I don't want to even try to talk about the importance of it more than just stressing that, yes, do this. Really, again, the biggest thing within making this specific video here is do it yourself. Unless you're totally content taking to a guitar shop and having them do it, but just do it. Like, don't put it off. Don't worry about it. Don't feel like you're going to ruin your guitar because you're going to be shaving away parts of your saddle. Yeah, you are, but saddles are replaceable. And I mean, I've gotten free saddles multiple times from the guitar shop right over here. Shout out to them, by the way. Yeah, just, you know, maybe you have to pay $1, maybe you have to pay up to $10 for a new saddle. But normally they're not even glued in. They just kind of slide in there in that little slot within the wood of the bridge. And if you go a little too deep, then slide a new saddle in there. Just, well, let me take your time, do it in moderation, do a little bit at a time, and then see how even it is. And if you need to do more, then do more. Just put a groove in there. Compensate that saddle. Because mine was already compensated. This saddle actually came compensated. I did a little bit of adjustment to it within the past couple weeks. And then after that, tonight, like I said, just very recent, I just did a little bit more. And I noticed, after having it already come compensated, then doing more to it, playing like that for a good while, from that point, and then the little bit lower that I just went, I noticed a difference that I can't explain to you the extent of unless you were to feel it. So I have that package for this set of strings. I just put these new strings on Frank yesterday, and I have that package upstairs in this house. I would show you the diameter of the strings, because on the packaging it actually tells you the diameter of each string, how thick each one of the strings are. And I mean, compared to our bodies, the difference is very, very slight, but when you're doing those little movements, it's big. So we need it as even as we can. And a lot of what I'm expressing within this is the gratitude for my knowledge of this, because yeah, it's huge. So the little things are always the biggest, as we always discuss. Well, as I always talk about, but within the Image Clothing Company content you can see, I've seen that, said that a lot. I always will. That's how it is, so thank you. This is In The Image Clothing Company music. Just do that. I don't care what your approach is, if you're strumming at all, or if you're only finger picking, if you're playing mostly single note stuff, or if you're shredding through stuff. I would put myself in the shredding through stuff category, and it doesn't matter how far into your experience of guitaring you are, or what style of playing you have. This will help you so immensely. So just do it. Okay. All right. Today, like I said, it's the 2nd of January, 2025. So, Frank the guitar. Yeah. Shout out to my mom, dude. She bought me everything that I have for Frank. Him, the capo, the strings. She gave me a case. Kind of restarted my whole guitar journey. So, gratitude, man. Anyway. And don't feel like it's a one and done kind of thing. Because like I said, I mean, I've been doing adjustments on Frank, give or take 1 or 2 days every single day since I got him 2 weeks ago. Little tiny tweaks, because once you get it correct, it's done. Then you play the guitar. You replace the strings when they either get dirty or wear out. But you will be so joyful within your being if you spend the time, even if it takes time, to set up your guitar correct. And I have a video titled Full Nylon String Guitar Setup where I go through and show everything that you need to do. How Frank was set up in that wasn't the most ideal visual example, but I explained everything within there, and I went over every part of the guitar. I'm so grateful. Even everything that I posted up until tonight, I will only be able to play, and I will be able to play immediately better just by having it adjusted this well. Yeah, I just was double checking my grammar was correct. I think part of it was like that was conviction to me. Like, yeah, I'm gonna be able to play better. So, I'm not even gonna play anything within this because I just want this to be a real informational, like hard hitting in the amount of aid that this will do to you. This will help you so much. So much. Out of all the guitars I've had, I've very rarely set any of them up to the point where they were like good. But once you do, you're done. So Frank's my only guitar currently, and I don't see myself needing another guitar right now. So I've put a lot of time into him, man. A lot. Little tiny setup adjustments. So, yeah, the importance is just huge. I'm a good guitarist. You're gonna see, if you want to see anything from me and can find it on the internet, you'll see stuff from me, man. I'm a good guitarist. And as I say in some of the videos that I post, it's just as much Frank the guitar as it is me. Because if he wasn't set up to the best of how I know how to and to the best he is at the time, like as I'm saying, he's progressively getting even more tuned in as far as the tiny little discrepancies in height and angles within the setup. I wouldn't be able to do the things that I do. It's not about me being just able to do anything with any kind of guitar. It's really a two-sided thing. Your instrument has to work for you, and you have to learn how to work with it. So, gosh, dude, I've got like a emotional attachment to Frank. I mean, I'd be fine if he just like broke in half right now. Really would. But like, there's a ton of gratitude within what all this is that's in my hand here. Really, both of my hands now. So, just really the importance of that. Just tiny discrepancy in thickness of that G string being the thickest one of the ones next to it, and possibly the thickest of all of them. Depending on your string set, it could be even thicker than your high or their low E. So you can see it, man. You can see how it like is rooted in me. The conviction of how big this little tiny adjustment is. Because I've had guitars off and on for 2 years now. Next month. And I've never had a guitar like Frank. Never had a guitar this good, set up this well, this correct of size, and that sounds the way that I need a guitar to sound for what I play and how I feel music. Frank's a Yamaha CGS 102A. So, we are in the Image Clothing Company music, centered around the gospel of Jesus Christ. This is what it's all about, is the gratitude sitting here. Like I said, if he breaks in half right now, entirely content. Not what I'm going for, but if it does happen, then that's what happens. and I'm okay with that. But just the immense gratitude for, like I said, I'm not even going to pick through anything within this video, but just being able to hold this here, knowing that I have learned what I've learned through all the experience that I've done, is the way I'm going to word that. And now we have Frank the guitar. It's crazy, man. This life's not about getting anywhere, but it's about deepening our relationship with our God. And that's in stuff like this. He knows us all perfectly, and he knows what we need and how exactly better than we could. And this moment right here is what I need.